How are you?
I'm very well, thank you,
So,
Swamiji.
what's the interview for, by the way?
Ah, so the interview is
Okay.
part is for my interfaith ministry. It's good. It's good. It's a very interesting collection of people, as you might imagine, doing that
I
sort of
can
thing.
imagine.
Yeah,
Yes.
all of us coming with our eclectic histories, but fundamentally sharing our same goal of bringing peace and love and harmony into the world.
Yeah, sure.
So
I was
for
on a train a few days before Christmas on the 23rd, and I started talking to this preacher, Christian preacher
uh-huh,
from Swami. He'd been in Liverpool. He goes all over the world preaching.
great.
He was a nice man. He was a very nice man. Somehow he beelined for me. I don't know why. He saw me and he wanted to talk to me. I don't know why, but
I
he was a nice man, huh?
I wonder why,
Very nice.
Swamiji. Hmm.
I don't know. I was kind of I was just kind of half sleeping and just kind of looking at the clouds and all the rest of it. And then he suddenly sat next to me, and started chatting.
Hmm.
And he was quite sad when I got off. I got off the train much earlier than he thought. And
Oh.
but nice man, we shook hands and I said, "What's your name?" He said, "David," and blah blah blah. And we had a nice talk. He was a good
Oh.
man because I liked him because he was helping children in Nepal. He was raising money to help kids, poor kids in Nepal.
Wow.
So, so I thought that's a good thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm.
Um, well, I mean, for me, I wanted to have a chat with you today because last month our our whole weekend was around Hinduism and
Okay,
yoga, and obviously
right.
I've spent my time with you at Mandala Yoga Ashram over these very many years, and
Mm, mm.
I wanted to make a recording that I could share with the group,
Yeah, sure.
and just to introduce people to your thoughts around
Mm,
Hinduism and yoga and how relevant that is for us in the West and
mm,
what we can do
mm.
practically, because the whole point of the interfaith ministry training is for us to have an experiential journey within each faith or mystical tradition,
Mm,
so that we
mm.
can
Great.
truly empathize and resonate with the people that we meet and
Mm,
foster an understanding of similarity and find ways of bringing us together.
great. That's
So,
the way the world's got to go, in my opinion, actually.
yeah, it's a very important, for me, a very important thing. I'm doing this.
Mm.
Okay, so
That's better. Right.
yes. So your thoughts then, Swamiji?
Okay. Where do you want to start? You want to give me some questions or something?
Yeah, around Hinduism. So I suppose it would be really good to have your um, sort of potted definition of
Mm,
Hinduism first.
sure. Yeah, of course, Hinduism, it's a misnomer because it's a modern word given by the Western people when they first went to India.
Yes.
The real name of Hinduism is Sanatan Dharma,
Yes.
which literally means the eternal way, not truth, way.
Yeah.
And I think this is really important with any religion that they are ways, they're not truths, for me at least. They're not truths in their own right, they are pointers to the truth.
Mm.
Because for me, truth is beyond words, it's beyond any system. Truth, I mean, put God if you like, God, truth, reality, these are just words for something which is beyond our mind and our capacity to define or understand. So, Hinduism is a modern word. The actual name is Sanatan Dharma,
Yes.
which I prefer, which is not used very much these days. And actually, it's not one religion, it's a whole compendium of different ways of trying to find God, really. Uh, in India, I suppose it, like all parts of the world, people have searched for God ever since humans were on planet Earth. I guess it's part of the human nature.
Yes.
So it was certainly the case in India. But I think one of the things that's interesting about India is that they never threw anything out. They never threw the baby out with the bathwater. So ideas arose, and then new ideas arose, and so they kept everything. It's not that a new idea came and replaced an old idea. They kept all the ideas as being alternative approaches to find God, you see.
Yes.
And they've been doing this for thousands of years. And I think this is one of the things that I liked about India, that it gives you so many different approaches to God, really. And yoga is one of them, if not the most developed, perhaps with Tantra. But yoga is the most developed system which has arisen out of Hinduism. But the strange thing about yoga is that generally you don't need to believe in any particular religion. It comes out of Hinduism, there's no question. And people who deny it, they're not speaking the truth, actually. It arose in Hinduism, it arose in India. But in fact, whether you don't believe any God, or you are a Christian or a Jew or a Muslim or whatever you like, yoga is actually a way of going deeper in your own understanding. And not only your own understanding of your own being, and therefore the being of others, but of course the understanding of the depths of your own religion. Because I think every religion, you see, has enormous depths, but all religions, and this is again my opinion, somehow in the course of time they tend to get lost in formalism and rules and regulations and all the rest of it, and they lose the essence of what initially formulated them, or they miss what they were originally intended for, really. So yoga, it's really about refining the body and mind so that we become more receptive to intuitive realization of God, really. I mean, that's what it is. But you don't need to believe anything. It's only in the path of bhakti yoga, the path of devotion, which is a very important part of yoga, in fact, and possibly the path of mantra yoga, where you chant. Here, you could say that yoga might have some kind of concepts of God, you know.
Yes.
But apart from that, yoga is a system of helping a person to become more sensitive so they can start to realize a deeper aspect of their own being and eventually of God, of course.
Good.
So Hinduism presents all these different paths. There's so many of them. And some people say, you know, Hinduism is about having a million different forms of God or a million gods. This is absolute nonsense, actually. There are a million, thousands of different forms of God, but they're all symbolic of the one, you see. They're all symbolic. This is what you have to remember. And in fact, also in Hinduism, we have Advaita. And Advaita is not interested in any symbols of God, actually. It's about pure being. So you've got both ends of the spectrum. One where you've got idols, idolatry, you might even say, and there are symbols. And those symbols are to take us deeper in our understanding. And also in Hinduism, we've got the other end of the spectrum where there's no need for any form whatsoever. It's completely away from form. And in between, you've got a whole range of other possibilities. Of course, Hinduism has got a bad name in the modern era because of the caste system, you see.
Yes.
And a lot of Hindus also, I mean, a lot of my friends are Hindus. They're very much against the caste system, and many other people in other religions, or even non-religions, are against the caste system. But this is a social aspect which grew up for a good reason in many thousands of years ago, but in fact very quickly lost its direction and became corrupted, really. And what we see now is a corrupt form of casteism. Initially, it was based on the simple premise that we all have different capacities, and if we aspire to manifest our capacities, which are God-given actually, then we don't get caught up in trying to do things we're not very good at. So some people are good at thinking, some people are good at action, some people are good at fighting, some people are good at business, some people are good at farming, everyone to their own capacities. And in the early days, a few thousand years ago, if a person was born into a farming community, if he had a certain propensity to study and look deeper, or if he was mystically inclined, he could very easily move into another caste, actually.
Right.
But of course, vested interests very quickly moved in, and it became rigid.
Right.
And now, of course, it's completely rigid, and there's caste wars in India between the lower caste and the upper caste and all the rest of it. It's completely out of date. As far as I'm concerned, it should be thrown in the bin. But every religion accumulates these kind of outmoded systems, and once they're there, it's difficult to get rid of them.
Yeah.
And that applies to every religion, actually. Once they're there, they're difficult to get rid of. I wish we could get rid of them, because every religion has something very special in the heart of it, really.
Absolutely.
So that's my a bit of explanation of Hinduism. It's spread mostly it's in India, of course. There's 800 million Hindus in India. They're all very different. I lived in India 14 years, and the thing that I was amazed at, that you could meet as many characters there with completely different opinions as you can meet in the Western world, actually.
Yeah.
In India, you can meet Hindus who are very, very, very top-notch scientists, looking into nuclear physics or something. And you can meet people who are quite rigid in their belief systems too. You get all types. This is the amazing thing about India, as it is in every other part of the world. You get all types. Some people are atheists, and some people are, theists, and there's a complete mix. So Hinduism is a mix, like any other religion, I guess.
Great.
I'm not particularly Hindu. A lot of my friends are Hindu. I'm into yoga, but I do subscribe to a lot of the thinking of Hinduism, especially Advaita and especially yoga. But then at the same time, I can see fantastic aspects in Buddhism, which also came out of India, of course, and is very close to yoga, really. And I can also see lots of good qualities in Sikhism and Jainism, just as I can see wonderful things in Christianity, Islam, and Judaism, and all kinds of different systems worldwide, more tribal type religions, which are less well known. They've all got something to say about God, actually.
Yes.
So I don't know if that answers your question.
No, that's really good. Thank you very much.